Know where you can go is more peaceful, more free from interruptions than your own soul. Retreat to consult your own soul, and then return to face what awaits you. Stoicism originated in ancient Greece, founded by philosophers like Zeno of Citium around the 3rd century BC. It's a practical philosophy focused on personal ethics, self-control, resilience, and virtue. Stoicism teaches the development of self-control and fortitude as a means of overcoming destructive emotions and behaviors. In this video, we will explore 12 key lessons from Stoic philosophy and how we can apply them in our modern lives. Let's begin. The only thing I ask is that you watch this video in its entirety. If you're here, consider yourself different from the majority. Consider yourself an exception. Lesson 1. Control your perceptions, not external events. The Stoics recognized that it's our perception of events, not the events themselves, that cause us distress. As Epictetus stated, men are disturbed not by things but by their opinion about things. We cannot always control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. By focusing on our attitudes rather than external occurrences, Stoics aim to attain inner tranquility. When something frustrating happens, pause and consider whether it's truly as disturbing as you perceive it to be. Examine your judgments and reactions. With practice, you can learn to filter events neutrally rather than automatically reacting negatively. This skill takes time to develop, but can lead to greater equanimity. Lesson 2. Accept what you cannot change. The Stoics stressed the importance of distinguishing between what is up to us and what isn't. As Epictetus said, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Some things, like our reputation or health, are not fully under our control. Worrying about outcomes we can't determine is futile. The Stoics practice amor fati, or loving one's fate, meaning accepting life's events as they unfold. When you find yourself frustrated over something beyond your influence, remind yourself that anxiety will not change the situation. Conserve your energy for responding well to life circumstances rather than railing against them. Acceptance provides a sense of liberation that no external source can provide. Lesson 3. Focus on the present moment. Stoics emphasize living in the present rather than dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. As Seneca stated, "We are in the habit of saying that it was not for this or that we entered the world, but to live in accordance with nature. And in saying so, we are paying a compliment not to ourselves but to nature. Each moment is an opportunity to align ourselves with nature's reason and fulfill our potential." When your mind wanders to past regrets or future concerns, gently return your focus to the present. Observe the world around you with curiosity and awe. Appreciate the uniqueness of this moment, which will never be repeated. Living mindfully helps us fully experience life rather than taking it for granted. Lesson 4. Cultivate self-discipline. The Stoics saw self-discipline as essential to overcoming destructive emotions and desires. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions." We must govern our impulses and direct them according to reason. This requires constant practice through acts like facing discomfort voluntarily and exercising restraint. Look for daily opportunities to strengthen your self-control even in small ways, like minding your posture, monitoring your speech, or enduring minor irritations without complaint. With time, these practices will help you tackle greater challenges. You may falter occasionally, but persistence is key. Self-discipline leads to true freedom. Lesson 5. Reflect on your character and actions. The Stoics engaged in constant self-reflection and strove to exemplify virtue. As Seneca stated, "The life we receive is not short, but we make it so. We are not ill-provided, but use what we have wastefully." Examining our character reveals areas for improvement that we can cultivate through practice. Set aside time each evening to review your day. What virtues did you display? Which need further development? What can you learn from your interactions and choices? Regular self-examination helps us recognize unhealthy patterns of thought and behavior so that we can correct them. Over time, reflection shapes us into the best version of ourselves. Lesson 6. Master your emotions. The Stoics believed in mastering emotions through reason rather than suppressing them. As Seneca stated, "The effect of wisdom is to calm the stormy waves of the soul." Destructive emotions like anger and fear arise from faulty judgments. By analyzing our emotional responses, we can train ourselves to respond calmly rather than reacting rashly. When you feel an emotional surge, pause before acting. Ask yourself where this emotion comes from. Is it justified or out of proportion? What is the wisest response? Emotions are natural and inevitable, but we can hone our ability to step back and respond rationally rather than being driven by them. Lesson 7. Conquer desire and pleasure. The Stoics cautioned against becoming dependent on material possessions, pleasure, and praise. As Epictetus stated, "Do not seek to have events happen as you want them to, but instead want them to happen as they do happen, and your life will go well." Outcomes rarely satisfy us long-term. Desires often lead to disappointment. Examine your strongest desires through the lens of reason. Differentiate fleeting pleasure from lasting fulfillment. Practice occasionally abstaining from comforts and conveniences. When you feel craving, consciously pause and redirect your mind. Freeing ourselves from excessive wants brings incredible lightness. Lesson 8. Memento mori. Remember you will die. The Stoics meditated often on death, not morbidly, but to appreciate life. As Seneca stated, "You live as if destined to live forever. No thought of your frailty ever enters your head." Contemplating mortality reminds us to use our finite time wisely. Material concerns lose significance when we recognize how brief life is. Visualize your life ending, and consider what matters most. How would you live if this day were your last? What do you value that you might neglect? Make your days count. Be present. Cherish your loved ones. Regularly remind yourself that you and everyone you know will eventually die. Memento mori provides perspective. Lesson 9. Labor for humanity. The Stoics believed that all humanity is interdependent, like parts of a single organism. As Marcus Aurelius stated, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee." We have a social duty to contribute to the greater good through our work and actions. The welfare of others is inseparable from our own. Reflect on how your work and behavior impact others, both locally and globally. Consider volunteering or civic participation. Be charitable. Treat acquaintances with the kindness you would show dear friends. Look for common ground. Uplifting humanity uplifts yourself. We're all in this together. Lesson 10. Limit desires for tranquility. The Stoics cautioned against overindulgence. As Seneca stated, "No man has been shattered by the violence of fortune unless he was first deceived by the smiles of fortune." The more we acquire, the more we desire. Luxuries easily become needs. It is better to appreciate simple pleasures than grow accustomed to extravagance. Periodically abstain from pleasures like gourmet food, alcohol, shopping, or entertainment. Spend time alone, without distractions. Focus on necessities. Take inventory of your possessions and discard unused items. Excessive desires chain us. By limiting wants, we gain incredible freedom. Lesson 11. Practice misfortune. The Stoics voluntarily practiced discomfort to strengthen their resilience. As Seneca stated, "Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest of fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition I feared?'" Hardships are inevitable. By enduring minor challenges, we can develop fortitude against life's greater obstacles. Welcome daily difficulties as training, rather than avoiding them. Forego small comforts on occasion. Visit someone who is sick. Interact with those less fortunate. Step outside your comfort zone. Physical challenges can build mental toughness. What we fear loses power over us once we confront it voluntarily. Lesson 12. Follow nature and reason. The Stoics sought to live in harmony with nature, guided by reason. As Zeno stated, man conquers the world by conquering himself. Our power lies in directing our reason to become the best human beings possible, rather than bending the world to our will. By aligning with nature's wisdom, we find meaning and fulfillment. Consider how you can live more reasonably, with integrity. Set aside ego and short-term gratification. Contemplate how you fit into the greater whole. Be guided by conscience. Seek truth and virtue above all else. What is proper differs for each person. Discover your purpose. Follow nature's lead, and you cannot go astray. The lessons of Stoicism provide a framework for serenity and self-mastery. Nowhere you can go is more peaceful than your own soul. Retreat within yourself through constant practice, and then return to face what awaits you. You hold incredible power, the ability to choose wisely, accept calmly, and act virtuously. Value this day. Make it count. Your life is in your hands. What will you make of it? The choice is yours.